Hello, welcome back to the Engineer's Corner at the Firehouse, the Engineer's Corner podcast. I have to say that because there actually is an Engineer's Corner for structural engineers, and I mean fire department engineers, the guys who drive and operate the fire trucks, motor pump operators, chauffeurs, driver operator, fire equipment operator, whatever you all call it. Today is September 11th, 2024. It's been 23 years since our country has changed due to a terrorist attack that murdered almost 3,000 of our citizens, including 333 members of the Fire Department of New York and one member of the New York City Fire Patrol. I don't really know what to say. I still never really know what to say about it, except that it was one of the biggest kicks in the pants that I've ever had. I was on duty. Actually, no. Our shift was ending at my department's engine house 4. And we were sitting there at the kitchen table shooting the breeze as normal. And suddenly the phone rings. It's one of the guy's wives, and she is in absolute hysterics. Understandably so, once we know what was going on. What she wanted to do is make sure we were watching the news. For whatever damn reason that morning, we weren't watching the news. Shame on us. So when we turned it on, the North Tower was burning quite ferociously. We watched for about 5 or 6 minutes, and then the South Tower got hit. I'm speaking only for me, but my blood was boiling at that point. At first, we were like, what the hell's going on with their nav systems on that plane? You could see the shape of the plane on the north wall of the North Tower. Second plane hitting, though, it's like, oop, shit, we're being targeted. And then, of course, we hear about a plane that hit the Pentagon, and then a plane that crashed in Pennsylvania, where the citizens fought back. Heroes, every one of them. If you ever get a chance to go to the memorial in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, I highly recommend it. I have been there. I have not yet been to the Pentagon or the memorial in New York City simply because I haven't had a chance to get there. The memorial in Pennsylvania is very well done. It's a very beautiful site. It's a very somber site, and they did it right. They have on the top of the hill, there's like a, I don't want to call it a gift shop. You can buy things there. But there's also a tour, like a museum of it, that you can go through. And they show pictures and maps of the site. And then there's also a section that explains when it happened that it was a one-lane logging road. Just big log trucks would go up and down this dirt road. That's the same road that all the fire, EMS, law enforcement equipment had to go up and down. That road is now paved, and that's the road you drive when you access it. It's a modern road with shoulders even. Then you drive down from there to the crash site itself. The crash site is fenced off because it is the burial ground and it is sacred ground. And I think it's absolutely done right. There is a big boulder at the point of impact, and it's very somber. I did okay up on the hill. It was when I got there, and I could see the names of the victims down there along one of the walls. And somebody had brought a lot of teddy bears. And it was very overwhelming. The day it happened, my 2 older kids were in kindergarten and in 1st grade. So how do you tell a 5 and 6-year-old what happened? When it's all over the news, they can see what happened. But how do you explain it when they ask why? I still don't know if I did a good enough job. Doesn't mean I won't try. But anyway, I have also explained it to my youngest, who is now 12. And she has a decent understanding as an old soul 12-year-old. That's how I describe her. Love her to death. Love all 3 of my kids to death. If you guys really want to listen to a good podcast, tune in to The Weekly Scrap. No, wait, my bad. National Fire Radio. The Weekly Scrap's awesome too. Sorry, Corley. I'm not trying to diss your podcast, but this morning I listened to National Fire Radio. Jeremy replayed his 9/11 episode from last year, and oh my God, bring some Kleenex. I really felt like I was almost reliving that day, just listening to other guys from all around the country, fire departments all over. Myself, I'd been on at my department for about 4 years. Some of the guys he interviewed were in the academy or hadn't even become firefighters yet, but they were at EMT school or medic school. Some of the other guys were already on shift and had been on shift for a while and some are now retired. But it's very interesting to hear the viewpoints. One of my traditions for September 11th every year is to watch a movie that Anthony LaPlazia and Sigourney Weaver made. It's called The Guys. I do not knowingly own stock in this company that made it, but it's very interesting perspective. He is a captain on a fire company that lost some members, and she is a writer who he contacts to help him write the eulogies. Sorry about the glare. Write the eulogies for the men in his company. I think it was a very well done piece, and it makes you think because it tells it not only from a firefighter's perspective, but from a civilian perspective. Another book that I read every September 11th that I've loaned out, so I don't have a copy with me right now, is a book called Daniel Sir, A Story of September 11th. He was the first FDNY member killed. He was killed by a jumper that fell on him. And there were 2 other companies along with his company. All 3 company members came to his aid, loaded him in an ambulance, and most of them went with the ambulance. The remaining guys went back to their engine and wound up setting up water supply later, drafting from the Hudson River. His death, while extremely tragic, and I'm not poo-pooing his death at all, saved 3 fire companies' lives. And it's a really good book. I highly recommend it. Get it for a few bucks for Amazon Kindle and other e-readers. I've got a couple of paper book copies. And again, I've loaned them out, otherwise I'd be reading it today. And I'd show you guys. Now, almost everybody in the fire service knows who this is. Andy Fredericks was a lieutenant with the FDNY. And he did a lot of studies prior to September 11th on fog nozzles versus smooth bores. This is not a fog versus smooth bore debate conversation. This is simply his book. I highly recommend that you get it. You can learn a whole lot. I've been in the fire service for 36 years, and I've been at my department now for 27 years, and I'm still learning every day. I'm a student in my craft. So, in honor of everybody who died on September 11th, 2001, I hope that everybody who hears this, who watches this, can help America become what we were on September 12th, 2001, which is American. We weren't white, we weren't black, we weren't Latino, we weren't Oriental, we weren't anything except Americans. And that's the way it should be. Thank you for watching. Appreciate your time. Stay safe.